Big up, big up, big up, big up. Redbird in the house. I see you. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. We are going to get into some good stuff today. Welcome back to the Liverpool 12 Man Show. You're home for real Reds talk with some real Reds fans out there. Redbird showing the true Red nature, the true Reds character, I would say, by his kind words. We also are going to talk about some really great things that are starting to build momentum. Let me tell you, this episode is going to be a fun one, could be even considered a big one. Pause. But we're talking about pressure. We're talking about purpose. We're going to be talking about the players who need to step up now. And I sincerely mean that. We need to see them step up now, or possibly they will be expendable and need to be moved on from. Yes, you heard me say that. So, but before we dive in, let me say this. I know there's not many people in the chat as of right now. However, I'll reemphasize this maybe a little later on when we get the house filled up with some seats. But we are starting this drive now to at least get 50 likes on every show. So hopefully you can do that for me. If you can hit the like, I really would appreciate it. We're starting to get some momentum. I've actually been in touch with YouTube to try to, find out what's going on with some of those that were unsubscribed without their knowledge. So we're working on this, and we're definitely trying to make it happen. Sorry about that. But so shout out to John Conway. Big up, big up. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. And also, we're going to possibly most likely have some panel members show up and be a part of the show. For right now, you just got me on the solo, so I'll just hit you on the dolo and tell you what it is. We're less than a month, right? Tomorrow is a big, big game. Big game, I would call it, because I get it's preseason, but it's a preseason match that's going to give a lot of us a real first glance at this team, at Ekitike, at some of the components that are maybe in doubt or in question. It's also going to show us some of the players that have how they transitioned, what they have prepared mentally for this grueling campaign that we're going to have. It's also going to see like how we are dealing with the situation of dealing with the unfortunate disaster that we had with Jota's untimely death. So a lot to unpack here, a lot to go through. And again, we're less than a month away from the new Premier League season. That's crazy. The Reds are in Asia. The title is ours to defend. That's how I see it, at least. Some might not see it that way, but I see it that way. But even in the middle of the celebration, there's a little bit of tension. You can say that because some of our own are fighting for their Liverpool future. This isn't just about form. It's about, you could say, survival. Tonight, we're going to break down the top 5, in my opinion, the top 5 make or break players at this club. And what their path towards really continuing on with the team really looks like. So if you're there and you're with me, big up Unscripted Sports Show. It's my guy in Philly. Big up Red Armchair Supporter. Big up High Lord. Again, John Conway, Redbird. Shout out to all of you. Let's get into this. Let's just get right into the fun, the thick of things, I guess you could say. So for me, there's 5 players this season that might just be the most important moment or season of their entire Liverpool careers. This is about who starts, who stays, quite possibly who fades away, if you want to look at it that way. And the most notable thing about it is who do you have in your picture as being realistically someone that we can rely on to contribute to our campaign of defending? And if not realistically, if you want to put it even in better terms, going back to back in the Prem, and maybe even adding a few titles or a few trophies on top of that as well, along the way before we get there at least. We've already seen some flashes in preseason. Preston and Stoke were easily dispatched. We had some strong showings from some real questions looming for others, as with some new additions to the club. So today we're spotlighting the top 5 Reds I spoke on, or about to speak on, I should say, facing a make or break moment. This is that list. All right, let me bring up a list for you. Actually, I have some pictures, I think. So I'll give you some give you the insight that way. So first we have Andy Robertson. Andy is going to be definitely someone that some is cycled out already, which is a shame. I don't think he is just there just yet, to be honest with you. I know some have him being, I guess you could say not a part of our future. I know Rasta Crab might not think that. Big up, shout out to Rasta Crab. I know that's Rasta Crab's guy. But for some, Robbo might be eating the popcorn elsewhere. I personally don't think of it that way. I know Robbo has put it out there that he wants to fight for his position. He's the vice captain, just as Rasta Crab's pointing out. Yeah, there's going to be something. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be moved on from this summer. I'm talking about this year. This is not about moving on from these players this summer. This is more so about moving on, possibly depending on what they do and how they fit in to Arnie's system this year. That's what this is about. I would say next on the list for me, again, next on this list, and let me put it this way so that we can see all this together. Next on this list, Mr. Harvey Elliott, apparently giving an award, a medal to his ringlets, to his hair in this picture. Harvey Elliott is my second person on this list that I think is going to be a real question mark whether he has a future with us. Rasta Crab thinks he said bye baby. He's doing his Backstreet Boys. I think that's Backstreet Boys. Is it bye? Isn't that Backstreet Boys? I think it's Backstreet Boys. Maybe it's the other boy band. But all the same, Harvey Elliott, big question mark coming up for him. Next on my list, and we're going to go in depth with all these players, a little bit deeper in depth, I would say. Next on this list, so we have Andy, we have Harvey, and we have next on the list up is going to be Mr. Dominic Szoboszlai. This is a big make or break year for Dominic Szoboszlai, in my opinion, primarily because Dominic Szoboszlai, seen here apparently, giving a call or telling Bayesian Reds crew to give him a call, holler at him. Just playing with the guys. I think it's a big year for Dom to show improve this year, simply because, look, let's not get it twisted. Verts is the 10 that we all want. I think not only is Verts the 10 that we all want, I think Verts is the 10 that we possibly need. you can make the argument. You could make the argument for Dom as well for that, but still the same. And I would even go as far as to say Maka is the 10 that some of us would like to see as well. Rotation is going to be the key. I agree with that too. I definitely agree with that. And tell me, keep commenting in the chat. I will be bringing up your points, your contributions in a moment. Next on the list at the number, these aren't in any particular order, by the way, but at the 4 spot, I have, I think, a promising young man, and that is Mr. Ben Doak. Ben Doak is a player that I think is going to be a make or break year, especially if we keep him. And I know that there are some of these players have ties to them that's saying that we are going to be that we could possibly move on or make a move on him this summer if the right deal comes across the table. But for right now, Ben Doak is looking at going to be a Liverpool player going forward. Until he isn't, that's why I'm going to say this is a make or break year for him. Ben Doak has shown some real promise, has worked his way back from some injuries. Right here, you can see he's giving the side eye to the Irishman here in this picture, I think. You can be seen here giving the side eye to Irishman's thoughts on his Liverpool future. But all the same, Ben Doak is someone that I could see possibly being. Rasta Crab is not a fan of Ben Doak, but okay. I think it could be a make or break year for him. And I know this player is always, he's often brought up. He's often said as being expendable. And that player is Mr. Darwin Nunez. He is lighting it up in the preseason. I know it is just preseason. Not saying to draw too much into it, but he is lighting up in the preseason. He looks he's got a new do. He's focused. He's definitely got a lot of things on his mind that have him very much looked making an impact this season, whether it's with the Reds or maybe with another team. I think he's definitely looking at making this year a make or break year. Crab is just saying adios to everyone, but okay. But, he could be getting sold. He could not. Maybe he doesn't get sold. Who knows? But until we see that signature get over there, I'm going to, until he takes the red kit off and we have him sold, I'm going to speak on him as if he does have a future with the team. That's why I'm saying of all these players, until you've been sold or until you've moved on, you're a real Red in my eyes. So I could care less about those things. But again, let's start off with Robbo. Andy Robertson, a modern Liverpool legend. I think there's no doubt in questioning that. Last season, I get it. He just didn't look himself. The crosses lacked bite. Defensive solidity wasn't there. And that spark, that real spark was missing. Shout out to Lady B in the house. Big up, big up. It was certainly dimmed, if anything. There's a lot more responsibility being the vice captain now, so maybe that's the light under his britches to get him more inspired or back into the whole thing. And again, this isn't about who's staying. This isn't about who's staying this summer. This is about this upcoming year being an important year for these players' careers, especially these players' careers possibly with the Reds. Now, some of these players might be moved on. If they're moved on, obviously, then it's all mute. But right now, they're Reds. And right now, if they do move forward and a deal doesn't work itself out, then this year is a serious make or break year. Robbo included, despite being the vice captain, this is a make or break year for him. we have 3 left backs on our books right now. Not many teams have that, and I mean left backs specifically. I think that's why you're seeing these left backs possibly be, tried out as left center halves to try to bring out some versatility and worth in keeping these players, because Kirkes is a guarantee keep, right? Kostas Tsimikas is a player that does bring some type of difference when he's on the pitch, along with Robbo on their given days. So you're going to have to figure out, if you're going to keep 3 left backs, you're going to have to figure out a way that they can play more than just left back. And that's why I think you're seeing Tsimikas and Robbo both play in the left center half. But, now with Milos Kirkes here, £40 million spent means that you're going to see Kirkes quite a bit. That's not a backup. That's a challenge. That's how I see it. Robbo's been there before. But can he fight Father Time, as we're putting it? Is he willing to be someone that's going to be a sub, or is he willing to be an alternative or a backup option? I don't know. That's a really good question, and it's a really big question that we have to ask. Now, the next player that we spoke of again was Harvey Elliott. I want to root for this player. I know this isn't Crab's. I know Crab is not a huge fan of ringlets, as we affectionately call them, but I like to root for this player. I know people will often say, "Oh, the player FC BS and stuff." Look, that blows. It really does make you question sometimes the rationale of it all. Every player makes up the entire team. As in, if you had a pizza pie, if you take a piece of the pie, piece of that pie away, you don't have a complete team. You don't have a complete pie. So each one of these slices is important. Each one of these players are important. Harvey Elliott played his part the last 2 years, or last 3 years, actually, if you want to consider it like that. Last year, not so much. But he had his moments when he was given the opportunities. I just like rooting for this player because he bleeds red, and it is seriously something that I love to see when a player really loves the club, loves the city, loves the people, the fans, everything connected to the club. He holds close to his heart. And I think that those kinds of players are special players that you have to really, really appreciate when you have the opportunity to do so. 22 years old, still so young. I know just after 28 appearances last year and the arrival of Florian Wirtz, of course he's going to start wondering, do I have another season in me at Liverpool? He's even brought that up himself in interviews, speaking about his future and how maybe he needs to be a little bit more selfish than previously, before, when he would sacrifice his game or sacrifice his ambitions just so that he could make sure that the team prospers. So it's something where he's starting at another season on the fringes unless something changes, and he knows it. He said it himself again, he needs to be selfish. He has World Cup hopes and aspirations. That's important. A lot of these players, to get on that World Cup team, they've got to be actively playing. Now, even if he wants to be a Red, is he going to get those minutes? Is he going to get the time to be able to showcase his talents to Tuchel so that he can get on that England team? It's a very big question, because I don't know if he exactly is. And maybe that's the reason why teams like West Ham, are now making a little bit more vaunted effort in trying to see whether he would be interested in a move to them. Why I said this next player, why I said Dom, And this is him calling out. This is him telling some of the Beijing Reds to give him a call. They'll know. They know I'm playing with them. One of Slot's favorites last year. Not one of the fans' favorites, but certainly one of Slot's favorites. He's one of my favorites, actually, on the pitch because I see how hard he works and I see the amount of intangibles he brings to the pitch that sometimes even me, being a stat guy, can't necessarily, bring out in words what he actually brings. Because I know someone will be like, "Oh, well, he just runs. He runs. He works a lot. He runs fast, and he covers a lot of pitch." As our friend Chris Angel would say. And there's more to it than just that. He's not just doing laps around the pitch. I just think because he presses like a demon, he delivers quality. Again, Wirtz's arrival is big because Wirtz isn't here to rotate. Wirtz is here to start. You don't spend 100 some odd million, especially for Liverpool, for you to be a rotation player. Okay. So with him being here to start, where does Szoboszlai fit into that midfield? Where does he get his minutes? They've got to be under threat some way, somehow. And the question is, if he's not going to be playing the 10, and let's say Wirtz does play the 10, can he adapt to a new role? Maybe it's playing on the left, on that left wing, which we've seen him do, or maybe it's being a right midfielder. We will see. Maybe it's being a part of the pivot. It's a big, big question because I don't know if he can play deeper. I don't know if he can play out wide consistently. I don't know if he can play as a possible false nine. That versatility, I think he has, but for you to really get a good grip on whether it's going to be sufficient enough, you need to see it through a good set of continuous starts. And this versatility might be his lifeline, but we shall see. We shall certainly see. I put Ben Doak on this list because he's a wild card to me. And what I mean by he's the wild card is he was on fire at Middlesbrough. He showed his quickness. He showed fearlessness when going up against his competition. He was direct in trying to get actually moving offensively. But with these big money signings coming in, with the team obviously making some real big name signings as well that are looking for quality minutes, he's also on the sell list to balance possibly the books. If it happens, I'm going to wish Ben Doak all the best because I think Ben Doak is a very talented young 19-year-old. Can he do enough in preseason to make Slot say, wow, there's a player there. No way, we're keeping him. That's something to be shown. And I'm sure that Ben Doak has that firmly in his sights as being something he wants to do. And last but not least, the player that divides the fan base here, Mr. Darwin Núñez, seen here trying to make sure that he hears all the Núñez's over the booze. Darwin. Let me say 14 minutes it took him to get a hat trick versus Stoke. He is chaos bottled. He is something of an enigma in that, sometimes you don't know what you'll get from Darwin. But you do know, if anything, that 9, if not hopefully 10 out of 10, but 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get absolute adrenaline. You're going to get absolute effort and energy and heart and a go, never say die attitude. And I know some people that now we've bought Ekitike, they're saying, okay, there's no room for him. Maybe not the case. Well, man, and we'll get possibly a good idea of what it's going to be with these preseason games. And the fact that he's on the trip means something, because if they were looking to possibly move him, or if they were hell bent on moving him, they most likely would not be bringing him into these games or bringing him on tour for these games that would possibly impact him by getting an injury or something like that. Heck, he almost got an injury. He almost got Ali injured in training when they were going for a ball. Could have been vice versa easily. I know we're still chasing Isak. That's starting to heat up even more. Is there still a place for Darwin Núñez at this club? In my humble opinion, it does seem very unlikely if we do get Isak and Ekitike. However, I don't think that it is an all-out necessity, nor do I think it is an all-out assurance that he will be sold. I know people might be saying, "Oh, he's definitely." No one can say yes or no if he's going to be sold or not, because none of us are in the boardroom and making those decisions. So a lot of times when you hear those kinds of like assurances, you could say, "Okay, well, I was told Endo's going to be leaving. I was told that certain other players are going to be the first additions to this club." Sometimes even from the ITKs or the people that listen to the ITKs, you just got to wait until it actually happens. So I will admit that this preseason might be Darwin Núñez's last stand, and it also might be the last time we get to see him in a red kit. So I don't know which one of these 5 players will get the opportunity to silence the critics this season. I think, if anything, the most likely out of all of them would be Dominik Szoboszlai, because I think Dominik Szoboszlai is going to get the most minutes out of all of the 5 that I've shown on this list. I would ask you in the chat, since you're my co-host on this one, who do you think is who do you think is under the most pressure to perform this year, if given a chance? And do you think that do you think Harvey Elliott's going to really get the chance? Do you think, this is preseason, if there's anything that you would respect out of a coach, it would be the opportunity to prove that coach wrong. Preseason is that opportunity to be able to go out there and either prove that coach wrong, and if not, and if that coach still doesn't change his mind, then get another opportunity to at least showcase your talents, to make a move to another club that is interested in your talents. So I'd like to see what we think. Let me see what you have been saying in the chat, because I know you guys have been lighting it up a little bit here. Let's see. Oh, no worries, Norm. If you got the missus has got you putting up shelves, no worries. Jimmy is asking, do you think Konate still trying to make a deal happen is because of Ekitike arriving? It's a good question. That's a very good question. I know that Cody was kind of, joshing him a little bit, ribbing him a little bit, because he said something along the lines of, "Oh, you're happy now because you have another Frenchman on the team." I can't emphasize this enough, and I get some people might say what they can say. Look, I've known some of these players, not necessarily on Liverpool, but I do know some former players. I do know current players here in America. I do know players for national team, players for the likes, and there is a real camaraderie that you like playing with your buddies. You like playing with people you enjoy going to work with. It's that sometimes when you have a situation where if you're going to work and all you do is go to work to your best, you're professional, you do your thing, and then you leave, the incentive to go to work isn't exactly the same as if when you go to work, you have someone there that you are happy to see, someone you enjoy conversing with, someone that might push you to be a better player because you've got a connection, old friends and the likes. We see this in a lot of other sports. Let's not get it twisted. Football is not separate from that same mentality, and it also, and I can definitely emphasize this. It helps too that it helps if you can converse to someone in your native tongue. We often see when you see the behind the scenes and you see the guys in the cafeteria and they're hanging out and they're chilling and they're at the tables. You'll often see a lot of the players. You'll see some of the Brazilian players hanging out with the other Brazilian players, the Argentinian players hanging out with the others, maybe the other Spanish-speaking players. Doesn't necessarily be Argentinian, but at least other Spanish-speaking players, because you just like to be able to speak not only freely but comfortably in your own language with someone, and be active in the conversations. It's that simple. I mean, like if someone was a native Spanish-speaking person and they're tuning into this channel and all they're hearing is English, and they don't understand it, and there's no captions telling them what I'm saying in Spanish. There's only so much that you're going to be able to intake, so much you're going to feel like a part of the conversation. So I think that's important, very important. And it's good to see another Frenchman on the team. David saying, according to Sky Sports, Bayern Munich has just submitted an offer for 69 million pounds for Liverpool's Luis Diaz. It's big money. It's big money. Very big money. They're getting closer. I don't know if that moves them. I don't know if that makes the difference, though. I still don't think that makes the difference in him making the move. You can tell me if you think different. You can tell me if you think different. But I don't think that makes the move simply because the signal. Oh, I'd have to do the conversion. I'm not going on the conversion. So all right. So let's see. 69 million. So we're looking at 79 million euros. It's getting close. I think if they come back, they offer 76 million pounds. I think Diaz will be a Bayern Munich player. They come back with another offer of that's still them lowballing us a little bit from the evaluation that we have. But apparently the evaluation that we have on him is 86 or something around that mark. That's 86 million pounds. I think if you were to see 76 million happen, then you would see the move actually happen. Let's see what else. What are we saying too? Lady B is excited about Wirtz more than Isak playing for us. He is such a talent and can improve other players around him. Agreed. That is, Wirtz is an incredible talent. Certainly so. Keep up my conversion for just in case I need it for later. I am going to say I would like to know who you guys think has the most to prove in this upcoming season. Who in your mind in the chat has the most to prove in this upcoming season? If you could put a name in there for me, then I appreciate it, because then I could know where your head is when it comes to who you think is going to make a difference. Bob Mark is saying Isak. I think that's what you're saying, right? Lady B is saying Dom. Jimmy's saying Diaz wants to move, so get some add-ons with that and sell him as we don't need an unhappy player in the squad. It's a pity he wants to leave. Yeah, I think it's certainly a pity. I wish that we could just do something as simple as give him a pay bump, or maybe give him a pay bump with incentives, and keep him for another year at least, and then give him the move at 29 to another club. But I think he recognizes the fact that this is probably the pinnacle of his, not only his worth in the sense of the market, but he's certainly a incredible talent that would be used accordingly. And again, it's interesting too, because look at it this way. You can tell that it is somewhat about securing a real contract for him, a real financially sufficient in his terms for market value of what he believes his market value is. It would be a real testament for him, because Bayern Munich was never in the conversation. He always spoke about, or at least his family was always speaking about, how Barcelona was always his dream move. He makes this move to Bayern Munich. Barcelona becomes that much less of an unlikelihood that he makes it there. Very little chance that he goes to Bayern Munich, signs a big deal. 4-year deal is what they're offering. Very unlikely chances he signs a 4-year deal, goes to Bayern Munich, and then moves on to Barcelona at 31, 32 years old. That's just probably not happening. Bob Mark thinks Curtis Jones is the big year. I had him on the cusp of this list. There's 2 players that I had on the cusp of making this list, and Curtis Jones was a player, Bob. Definitely. Jones doesn't have a good season. He's saying he can see Slot shipping him off next season. Yeah, agreed. Lady B says, let's see what Lady B says. She says she doesn't see Curtis progressing from where he is now. A squad player for her. Red Armchair Supporter says he wouldn't be surprised if Jones got less game time this season. Absolutely agree with that. I don't understand why people haven't really recognized, in this conversation, that I think midfield is the last thing that we need at this moment. There was a time when we needed a DM, and I still think that we possibly could utilize a DM, and that would be not just for next year, for this upcoming year, but that would be for this year and the following years after. I think we're going to rely on Endo being that resource at the DM spot for us, and figure out where we go next summer with the DM, whether that becomes Bashetic or Stefan, whether that becomes not Bandok, whether it becomes Owen Beck, who just signed a new contract with Liverpool, actually. So it could be very interesting. Jimmy thinks that Curtis has peaked in his progression. Okay. Hyler says he thinks the £69 million deal might just be enough for Diaz if add-ons are included, and if he knows Hughes and Edwards, they will include add-ons. I can understand that. Jimmy, I'm delighted to see Endo with us still too. I remember in the very beginning, there were very few people that recognized Endo's true worth and true professionalism, what he could bring to the table, what he could actually do. I actually did a whole episode on Endo and what I think he could open up for our club when it comes to the DM role. I did a couple of guest appearances on shows where I spoke on Endo and got a lot of pushback, a lot of flack. But there were some of us out there. There were some of us out there, like KJ, like my boy KJ, that really did understand the fact that it wasn't about getting some like starting DM that was going to be Rodri-esque. It was about getting a DM that was going to go out there and be a supporting actor as opposed to a leading actor. We didn't need a DM that could be has to be like a leading role like a Rodri. We had plenty of lead actors on our team. We just needed someone that could play the part of like, playing that supporting actor, playing that role of being able to allow for all these other players to go out there and show and prove. Joey G could be added to this list. Spot on with that. I agree with that completely. I didn't have him on this list because I truly think that Joey G is going to be, especially if we don't get Marquez over the line, especially if we don't get, I know Hato is most likely going to be going to London for Chelsea, but especially if we don't get a bona fide center half. We didn't get Hassan from Bournemouth. So like if we don't get a center half, which is what I've been screaming from the rooftops for I don't know how long, about how we need and how and why we need one, especially with the uncertainty of Ibu, with the depletion of Kwanzaa leaving the team. We definitely need a center half. Let's see, what else are we saying too? Bonkers thinks Beck is going to go on loan. He just might. Jones is second sub to a midfielder. Jones is second sub to Sabasalai, who could be the first sub. That's what Bonkers thinks. Red Armchair Supporter says the Egomaniacs wanted a big name. They didn't want a Japanese international called Endo. That's well put. Red Armchair Supporter has some of the best one-liners, and when he puts in statements, they're well thought out. Big up, Red Armchair Supporter. That is spot on. Spot on. Lady B says she's glad we didn't sell Beck. If he has any rushy genes, he could be a good player for the future. Spot on. Spot on. He's got a new deal, so that's good to see. Whether his future is going to be with us or not in this upcoming campaign, that's a good question. Maybe he gets loaned out, maybe he stays with the team, but we shall see. Good indicator must be revealed tomorrow in the match against AC Milan. A bit early, they know, or he knows, this is Hylor speaking, but you might get a clue on how Slot is seeing this team going forward. I agree with that completely. I think that's going to be a very big, it's just going to be a window peek or something, I guess you could say, like a peek through the window or peek through the looking glass hole. As to maybe what is going to go on. I think you'll have a better idea once this team returns to Liverpool, what exactly is going to be the future for a lot of these players. Beck definitely has promise. Jimmy says he is a tough kid. I agree. The fact that he's had two bad injuries, one, injury to, I think it was to his shoulder, and then another one to his, a lower abdominal injury. the fact that he's fought back and he's obviously kept that pace and the likes is a real thumbs up, or a real mark of his character, and also his commitment, and also maybe even our medical staff's commitment to getting these players back in shape and back on the pitch. Okay, Eiler. I don't know if that was to me or not. What time is the game against AC Milan? I will have that at the end of today for you, or maybe I can get that for you now. Just give me a second, and I'll tell you that. And it's a big indicator tomorrow. Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be. So the game is at 12:30. 12:30. It's a 12:30 kickoff for you. This goes to show you gotta, in my part of the world, you have to love this team, because it will be a 4:30 a.m. kickoff for me tomorrow. Yay! Yay! All right. Well, there was someone that I spoke on, like I said earlier, and that was Mr. Harvey Elliott, Mr. Ringlets. Let's stick with Harvey for a second, because his comments this summer, they hit different for me. He's given everything to, whether it was that that injury against Fulham was harsh. And it was something, it took a lot of wind out of his sails, the initial ankle injury or Achilles injury. And it was something that really, really put a real dampener on his inclusion, because at that time he was starting to really be implemented a lot into this whole Liverpool future. The one club I know is West Ham. Yes, that's a club that's very, very bullish on. It was Leverkusen before this. Now it's West Ham that has stepped up within England that's interested in him. But Harvey told Anfield Wrap that he loves Liverpool. He told him he wants to be here forever, as in he would like to see out his career with Liverpool. That's a beautiful thing. Don't take that for granted, people. It's not a player FC BS. That's on some real sentiment of knowing that it is meaningful when you have a player that is willing to give heart and soul for the club, and they believe in everything about it. But also, he made a comment that he might have to be ready to become selfish. And I respect that. I can respect why he's saying it that way. And I really do mean that. He wants to go to the World Cup. He's the best player on the on England's U21 team. Hands down, he is the best player on the U21 team. He has the most experience, and he is certainly talented enough to be able to play with the senior squad of England, I think, personally. He wants to play week in, week out. And in the squad, this stat, that might not happen here. It just might not. There's a lot to unpack. I get it. But when you're talking about our midfield, you have Gravy, McAllister, you have Dom, you have Curtis Jones, you have Endo, you have even Tyler Morton. And you now have the man in question, Harvey Elliott. That's 7 players. So It might not happen here. And look, when a player is this honest, it deserves a serious conversation. That's how I look at it. I do, and I agree with you, Lady B. If Harvey stays, I hope he smashes all of the doubters and I mean, some of them are haters, but the doubters in his ability to make it at Liverpool. I hope he smashes it, because then obviously it helps our team in general. But I also, for the player, I think because he shows such love and devotion to the club and to our fan base, how can you not support the guy? If Harvey does leave, it won't be because he failed. It will most likely be because he wanted more. And as a young footballer on the edge of international recognition, I can't blame him. In a year that World Cup is going to be happening next summer, I can't blame him. He was quoted as saying, Harvey Elliott says he wants to be a Liverpool player for life, but also meant he may have to be selfish to play at the World Cup. These are big words from a young player who just led England. And let me repeat this, a big moment for a player that just led England to a U21 title. Bring up honesty. Been a little bit of a while. Always enjoy your exclusives. I didn't see the interview, but Hyler, I will look at it. Hyler's recommending the interview with Lucas Stevenson, a young man that has played in various positions while on loan while his moments at Liverpool currently have him playing, seeing if he could play a little center half, seeing where exactly he fits in. Let's see what else. I agree with this, Jimmy. Jimmy's saying these new players will bring the fringe players to a different level, guaranteed. Yeah. We'll put it this way. What was it, Plymouth that we played in the FA Cup? There won't be any slacking off when it comes to playing a club, whether it's home or away, for FA Cup. That is for sure. Shout out to Pops, by the way. Shout out to Pops. Harvey Elliott speaking. Oh, I just spoke. I just said the quote. Yeah, if him saying that whole quote is means something. It should mean something. It really should mean something. And I'll ask this in the chat. Would you? I think, one, I'm going to say this honestly. I think that whatever deal we pull, if we do end up moving Harvey Elliott on, I think whatever deal we do, we should put in a buyback clause for Harvey Elliott. He's young enough that he could really make that turn to make you say, we need to go back in and bring him back to this club. I think a buyback clause should be part of whatever deal we do with Harvey, to West Ham, to Leverkusen, to whoever. But I was going to ask the chat, would you loan Harvey Elliott, or is it more of a priority to sell Harvey Elliott? In your opinion, would you loan him out for a year? Loan him to a club, obviously that could use him, whether it's in Germany, whether it's in England, a team that's going to, really utilize him as a starter or as a main player, because maybe they have an injury at that position, or maybe they just recognize the fact that even if it is a loan, at least they have the option to have a bona fide player that can contribute to their team. Would you loan out Harvey Elliott, or would you, let's say, loan him to West Ham? Or would you just outright sell him? With the buyback clause, of course, but still, would you outright sell him? David says he can't see him going on loan, unfortunately, but can see him being sold. Okay. All right. Long day for Lady B. Big up for joining us, Lady B. As always, pleasure. Good night. Have a pleasant slumber, and hopefully we will reconnect tomorrow after my long day tomorrow, which is me getting up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, if getting up at all, maybe staying up until 4:30 in the morning to watch this game. So yeah. Have a good night, Lady B. Red for Life is saying sell. Okay. All right. Honesty is saying sell talented players. Sell talented player. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me put his statement up before it leaves. He says, sell talented player, but what good does it do Harvey to be on the bench? He is at an age that he wants to and needs to play. Let him go to Leverkusen or Dortmund or Leipzig and cook. Leipzig would be an interest. I don't think he wants to go to Leipzig because I don't think he sees a real pathway towards getting back to the club that he probably would need or want to have in his career. But I agree. He should want to go to another club if playing time is what he's looking for. Hylor is saying he has a question. Okay, I'll bring it up in 1 second. Hylor. Pops is saying Harvey has a very big decision to make, but he feels he will be sold at worst, loaned out. He needs first team minutes. Agreed on that one. He was at Black. Oh, wait. That was about Owen Beck. Okay. Hyler's asking, big question, or he has a question. He was a bit puzzled with why Owen Beck left on loan to Derby. This young man has been amongst the best at each club he has been loaned to the last couple of seasons. I think the reason why he's been loaned out, despite being the best at those teams, I mean, you got to see, Ben Doak was one of the best players at those teams he was loaned out to as well. There could be an argument that Pachetic was one of the better players at the teams that he's been loaned out to. But with Owen Beck, I think it's more of a reality again of what our depth at midfield really is, what the reflection of our depth at midfield really is. I think that's what it is when it comes to that. Definitely. Well, let us, since we're at the hour mark right now, I would like to take a look around the league, talk about some of the other ongoings, maybe that impact us, maybe that are impacting our rivals or impacting other clubs. Let's pour the tea on what's bubbling around the Premier League. A spot of tea for everyone. We'll go from Eze to Isak to Isak's potential partners. like I said, let's pour the transfer tea and really get into it. We've got bids, rumors, some wild swap deals flying around Europe. Nicholas Jackson says he wants and only wants United. Rodrigo, I know he's been linked to us. However, Rodrigo apparently is close to making a deal with Arsenal. Or has that ship sailed? But the real heat, obviously, Liverpool are apparently open to selling Diaz. They're open to selling Darwin. And they're even open to selling Elliott to fund an Alexander Isak move. That's big. That's big. That's ruthless, but that's big. Those are three players that all contributed in one way or another to our success. But it also shows how serious we are about building for the future. And elsewhere, we have Eze to Arsenal. We have this deal is going to really blow your mind. I spoke on this yesterday. Originally, it was 115 million euros that they were reportedly willing to spend on Rodri. But now it is being said that Real Madrid are interested in doing a Camavinga and Rodri plus 40 million euros for Rodri. So it'll be Rodrigo, Camavinga, and 40 million for Rodri. I'm not a City fan. I'm not a citizen. And I don't like giving them good advice. I personally make that deal. I personally make that deal. I mean, I know this sounds like silly season, and it definitely sounds like silly season is off the leash if silly season is a dog. But I would make that deal. That is a really good deal. Camavinga is a player that I highly covet and I highly rate. I think he's a talented player. He's a player that I would love to see as being a DM for our club, if not some type of player in a pivot with. He's similar to a Gravenberg. I know some might say possibly even too similar to Gravenberg, but some could argue that he maybe is a little bit better defensively than Gravenberg. Who knows? But I think Camavinga is a talent, and I think that Camavinga would be an absolute jewel in our midfield. But for City, Camavinga would be a more than adequate replacement for Rodri. I get that he's not Rodri-esque in the sense of maybe he doesn't bring the entire level of importance that he brings, or Rodri has to City, but he is a very, very good DM. And then you get Rodrigo back as well. Rodrigo would answer that wing question mark that they have on their team because their wings are hurting. It's not going to be Jack Grealish. Obviously, they've already unloaded Sterling a long time ago. It's not going to be. Foden is most likely going to be playing their cam. It's really interesting. But let's get into it. Again, Chelsea value Nicholas Jackson at £100 million. It is being said that Manchester United are interested. I think that's a whole lot of poppycock, or however you say it, like as in a whole lot of like BS, because I don't see Manchester United paying £100 million for anyone, much less do I see them paying £100 million for Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea. Reels and Jared thinks Camavinga, yes, but Rodrigo would be another Grealish in his opinion. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Rodrigo can play both wings, but and Grealish isn't a flop. I wouldn't put him as a flop. It's just unfortunate his price tag was so enormous that most people will classify him as being a flop because of his price tag. Apparently, why they're now including Rodrigo in this possible deal for Rodri is because Arsenal have been said to be out of the running for Rodrigo. Real Madrid want £85 million for Rodrigo. That's what's being reported, at least, that they want £85 million. It's a lot. I know that Diaz, Nunez, Elliott are all rumored to be a part of the transfer committee budget or transfer committee to get a budget for the Isak deal. That's being rumored. Obviously, there was reports that were posted here about Diaz being offered £69 million, or Diaz, the offer for Diaz was £69 million. Again, I see if they put like 76 million on the table, that deal gets moved. It's not the £85 million evaluation that we have for him, but I think 75 is close enough for us to make the deal actually happen. But with Diaz, 75 million, cool. If you get another 75 million for, again, that's our evaluation for Nunez. That's 150 million right there. You drop in maybe another 40 million, 45 million with the evaluation for Elliott. Now all of a sudden you're looking at close to 200 million that we've got in our coffers, and we can make the move happen and still have some cash left over. Maybe that, the 75 and 75 goes towards Isak, and then that 45 we get for Elliott goes to Gahey, and boom, you have your deal. And then I don't know exactly. It's been confirmed by some publications that it's been confirmed that some publications have Diaz making 55,000 a week. There's also been put out in other journals that Diaz is making 140,000 a week. If he is making 140,000, that's even better for us in the sense that at least we're paying him relatively what he's worth, close to what he's worth. And you take hypothetically 140 for Diaz. I want to say Nunez is on like 150, maybe 160,000. You take the 150 for Nunez. You take the 140 for Diaz. Let's round up to 200,000. At least you're getting closer to the wage that Isak is going to demand, because Isak apparently is going to demand a wage of anywhere from 250 to 300,000 a week. Last but not least, Crystal Palace apparently has Eze headed to Arsenal. That'll be a huge acquisition for Arsenal. I don't want to say that's a big. I don't want to say it's a big knock towards our opportunity of getting Gahey, but I will say that it doesn't help our likelihood of getting Gahey if Crystal Palace is basically unloading possibly their best offensive talent and then unloading their best defensive talent. That'll be a tough one probably for them to swallow, especially since they have aspiration of making some type of movement in Europe with their FA Cup win, and also they have some probably aspirations of really, really not necessarily contending for Europe again, but certainly Crystal Palace, I would assume, would want to remain relevant. This is according to Honesty. He's saying Adam Williams has reported that Liverpool could potentially spend 400 million this summer, yet still breeze through PSR. We got money to throw up in the air, basically. Like we're in a video. I am going to do a actual piece. I already have the skeleton bones of the show put together, and I have a piece on how Liverpool are actually able to afford these moves. How we are able to. It's not just 400 million. We could spend up to 400 million. We could actually spend up to 500 million pounds and still be okay for PSR. That's how well Liverpool has been managing their books, and especially with some of the FSG brass basically saying, after winning number 20, they certainly recognize the fact that we're a big club, and we have to do big club things, which is bring in big name talent, and they're making a concerted effort to continue that train, bringing in the talent to our club, which is certainly commendable. Which of these rumors do you think is most believable, by the way? I don't have a panel, so you are my panel today. Which of these rumors do you think is the most believable? Big question. Also, do you think that Isak could play Ekitike with do you think that Isak could play with Ekitike if both were to join? I'll say that right now. Yeah. Honestly, no 130 charges. Make sure that they don't slide on that. 130 charges. They'll be quick to downplay each and every one of them as if they're nothing. But 130 charges is what they're faced against. You can be whatever it is in your respective country, but or even in England, but 130 charges is a lot to dodge. And some of them are impossible to dodge because they've actively stubbed their nose, I think is how you say it. Something like that. I asked if you think Ekitike and Nunez could exist. And I was going to ask a simple question because where that simple question was brought up to Ekitike himself. This isn't something that I'm, speculating on. This was brought up with Ekitike. And I think this is the time to talk striker chemistry. Ekitike said that he is happy to be a lone number 9 or part of a duo. He was already a part of a duo with Marmoush, and that's when he really got to rise to his level. So if he's a part of a duo, that's shown his ability to be a phenomenal player with Marmoush, who I think is a very phenomenal player in himself. Maybe there is something of an opportunity that you see him become part of a duo in this orchestrated formation. And I've said it before. We've seen this also been done by Liverpool, or at least by Arnie. We play a 4-2-3-1. Yes, I know. However, sometimes that 4-2-3-1 can be a 4-3-3. At times it can be a 4-4-2. And other times it could be a 4-2-4. There are various migrations and adaptations that the actual formation goes through. So yeah. Again, Slot could play the 4-2-3-1. He could go with a 4-4-2. He could go for a 4-2-4. We know he values flexibility. But is there enough football to go around for two central forwards? There's hardly enough football to go around for one central forward. Ekitike said he likes linking up. He likes creating. So does that open the door for someone like an Isak, like a Darwin, to stay or even start? That's why I don't think it's a done deal. And let's be honest, there are three very different profiles out there. Ekitike could be the link man. Isak could be the mover and the shaker. Darwin could be the chaos of energy. That little could be the we call him a joker in the deck, and that's not trying to say anything. He could be the wild card. Could two of them coexist? Could all three of them rotate? Ekitike went on to say he likes to do everything. He likes to be in the game, in the collective part of play. He said he can play alone or with another striker. We might just see that put to test. We might just see it be put to test. So, see what you guys are saying. Honestly, breaking down the Billy Hogan. Billy Hogan put it down. Actually, he did put it down. He did put it down for us. So let's zoom out real quick before we wrap up this episode. 2 wins, 8 goals scored. We've had a tribute to our fallen Red, Diogo Jota or Hata. The football's been sharp. Ekitike has landed and joined the team. I think Robbo has looked even sharper with this new distinguished and more, focused role as our vice captain. Love it or hate it, Darwin's on fire with his new haircut. He is burning up the pitch. But are we really learning from these friendlies? Is this the start of Darwin 3.0? Has Fossilized shown enough versatility to justify starting when Wirtz is fit? And is Endo really out of the picture? Or could he become a crucial closer for us once again? That player that Slot chooses to bring in to shut things down. It's preseason, but it matters to these players. That's why I said those 5 players I mentioned earlier, these are some make or break moments for a lot of these players. Some real make or break moments. I think I understand we've beaten Preston 3-1. We've beaten Stoke 5-0. And obviously, AC Milan or Milan as they're now known as, or Milano, however you want to say it, Milano FC. Our club, obviously, to have some real talented players. Most notably, some good Americans, which I like to see. And Yokohama has a lot playing for them because they are one of the better teams in Japan, and that would look at this opportunity to play against Liverpool as an absolute honor. So they're going to definitely try to bring a show to the table. 2 matches at Anfield, and then the Community Shield versus Palace And at the end of it all, we'll be left saying, what have we learned? What have we learned? Last but not least, I wanted to say honorable mention has to go to Endo for the fact that we are going to be moving, or that we are in Asia currently, but we're going to be, Hong Kong is an island, so technically not on the, and Japan's an island too, but not a part of the continental Asia, but all the same, Hong Kong and the island of Hong Kong and also the island of Japan are going to play host to our beloved Reds. I'd like to give a quick shout out for our Nippon player. Nippon means Japan. Our Nippon player, Wataru Endo, under Klopp. He was a revelation, but under Slot, he's broken in as a rotation piece. 32 appearances, most off the bench. Now at 32, this preseason might be his last real audition to, really get viable playing time. I think this is his last year in his contract too. We don't sign another DM. He's a handy late game option, but if we do, this could be the end of Endo's road in red. But I don't think it will be. I think Endo has this year, this upcoming year, to ride out a absolutely fairy tale inclusion with the club that I'm sure he never thought he would be a part of, and possibly dreamt of being a part of, but never I realistically thought he'd be a part of. But he has been because of Klopp's eye for talent and also his persistence in bringing in players that he really believes in. Because he was a Klopp era surprise. He supported he started just one league game last season. But I think he'll be a decent bench option. Definitely be a decent bench option. So before we bounce, is there anything you guys wanted to talk about or anything you guys want to ask me before I conclude? Red Reels from Jared is saying Ekitike will play backup striker and compete with Cody at left wing. Fofana will be right wing and left wing backup if we bring him in, surely. 6 forwards with Rio given cup games, and they go from there. That could be it. Arnie Klopp was saying apparently the Isak agreement is agreed on for 130 million plus add-ons. The deal will be announced when Newcastle announced Sesko, as they don't want the price driven up because of, I guess you could say, because of they would then know that it's a necessity that they have to get this player over the line to replace Isak. Okay. Honestly, saying Hugo Ekitike can do both. He can play alone, and he likes to play also with another striker. Just mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I am cooking. Yeah. Let me say, I'm cooking in the Arizona heat out here. So a lot of questions to be answered this preseason. Maybe even more questions to be answered during the season. But the thing about it is, we got 3. The great thing about it is, we'll all be here together to answer, to see those answers together, and definitely be a part of the answer ourselves, possibly. So, Lee, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here, mate. Yeah.
Okay. I was just about to end the show, but
Sorry.
I tried it. I mean,
we're about show, and we had some new lad on a Scouser called Sonny, who's like got his own channel or something, or getting a channel started. So
wait a minute, Sonny. Wait, Sonny.
Yeah, no, that's his name. We asked him what his name was. It's a younger than me, Scouse guy. Anyway, I can tell from his voice, but there is a Sonny.
There is a Sonny that reps Liverpool. He's been on the terrace before, but he's all due respect, he's kind of like, I'm trying to think of how to politely put it. Maybe someone in the chat can help me out with it. If you've seen Sonny, I wonder if it's the same Sonny.
Whoever it is starting up his own YouTube. Liverpool,
oh, he's starting up his own YouTube. Okay,
yeah, he knows some of the
has...
other like guys like Fozzie and that. Like he already knows them. I think this lad who was on, he was just on Brian's channel. Then it was just finished now. Just,
okay. Yeah, this Sonny has. He already has a channel, and the Sonny I'm speaking on has been on like the Football Terrorists and the likes, and he goes on and he's young. He sometimes says some wild and sometimes disturbingly wild things that are just like embarrassing, dude.
This guy was very
no, don't. Like don't this doesn't represent Liverpool right here. Sometimes he says some asinine things, but
no, Dowson's the same fella. It'll be a different fella, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you real quick before we bounce, because we've got a few more minutes before we hit the 90th minute.
Sorry about coming in at the last moment, mate.
No, it's okay. I understand. Holding it down with Brian, it's all good. Would you sell Elliott for £40 million to West Ham? And that is with the buyback clause. I think the buyback clause has to be included in whatever deal we do for him. Yeah. Or would you possibly just loan him to West Ham so he can continue to develop, and then we'll have a whole nother year to be able to figure out a place for him in the team?
Well, I don't know what Arnie's thinking about his future, whether Arnie thinks he has one. But if Arnie thinks he doesn't, then the best thing would be a move to West Ham for him. It wouldn't be too far to move from Fulham, I suppose. It's back in London, like closer to where he's from. It'd be a good move for him, yeah. I wish him well. I hope he gets it, actually, because I just can't see game time for him with the new players that we've got now. And we're adding to it all the time, aren't we? If Isak comes in as well, it's going to be a real struggle for him to get any minutes. So 40 million's a good fee, yeah. If we could get that from West Ham, yeah, that's a good fee. And we need money coming in, don't we? Because we still got to buy a centre back.
Well, that was the thing I was going to say, is that would you be open to, I know Gahey is the name that's on a lot of people's lips there, but and often you don't get many transfers that are swap deals these days because it doesn't help your PSR. But hypothetically, would you do a swap deal with Crystal Palace for Gomez for Gahey?
No, because it just gives us another problem then, doesn't it, of finding a replacement? All we're doing is swapping one for another and not adding numbers. I'd rather we just bought him for cash, Mark Gahey, and kept Joe, because he's settled here and that. And if he can be fit this season, then he's a good option for us. He's versatile as well. I prefer we just pay cash for Gahey. It'd be a good move for Elliott, though. He is a player that I think probably hasn't got much of a future now, like with the signings we've made. I'd like it to be different, but it isn't. Just saying what I feel about it and what I think Arnie probably looks at it that way as well. So,
well, I do say too why I said maybe. I mean, it would make more sense for us to try to do a transfer of or swap deal of Elliott to Crystal Palace for Gahey. But why I was saying Gomez isn't because it's not because I've given up on Gomez or something. But I know that Gomez would possibly like a move back towards London. And that would be a certain pathway towards getting to, Crystal Palace is a London team. It'd be an opportunity for him to play closer to home and his family. So,
yeah.
Yeah. You had to think about it for a second.
No, it'd be a good. I mean, Joe would be going back to London if he did go as well. It'd be a good move for him,
That's what
area-wise.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like Joe to stay though. It just gives us another headache, doesn't it? You know,
Oh, absolutely.
we're worrying about the Ibu contract, which I think was.
I think we would make. I think we make a concerted effort to just pay him the money.
Yeah. I think we'd be all right on that score, but we haven't replaced Jarrell, and letting Joe go, it just wouldn't make sense because it's just the numbers don't add up, do they? We need to keep him. We very much need to keep him. And it's just more turnover in the squad if he did leave as well. Like, he's one of the senior pros, like, as well. Now, you know, at the club, like. So, yeah, be a good move to keep Joe, I think.
Okay. Let's see if I have any other questions I could ask you before we bounce, or if there's any questions from the chat before we bounce. What's a move? Oh, this is what I was going to ask the chat too, and I'm asking you the same question. What's a move that Liverpool are on? When I say record, I mean as in it's out there in the tabloids as we're like, you know, trying to. What's a move you would not recommend us doing in this window? I know of a move that I would recommend us not doing. But what would be a move that's out there that you would say we should stay away from?
Probably Rodrigo.
Really?
Yeah. If we buy Isak, there's no need for him, is there?
Okay. What is it for you in the chat? We'll go a little bit over the 90 minutes here. What is it for you in the chat? Is there a deal out there that Liverpool are rumored to be a part of or rumored to be pursuing? If you could tell them to put the kibosh on, you would do so. You would say, no way, Jose. I'd like to see if anyone has any names out there. I know the name that I would use because it's a name that actually resurfaced just recently again for like the 5th, 6th time or something. And that is Mr. Gordon. It has risen up again that Liverpool are interested in not only getting Isak, but also bringing Gordon to Liverpool. I don't see how we could get both Isak and Gordon, especially with the evaluation of what they have Isak or Gordon at. They had Gordon at £100 million evaluation as well. There's no way that we would sign. I can't see us signing off on getting Isak at 150 million, 130 to 150 million, and then saying, let's go in for another 100 million on Gordon. Whereas then we could take that 100 million and buy Gahey and possibly another center half. You know? I just don't see it happening. Red for Life is saying, I don't rate him at highly either, David. I don't rate him at highly either. Not at 100 million pounds. Not that's ridiculous. I don't rate him higher than Diaz, and I certainly don't rate him higher in talent and quality. And I definitely don't rate him at 100 million pounds as a valuation. Red for Life is saying he has a question. He says he does have a question about Isak. Are you at all concerned about how Isak is all of a sudden asking to explore opportunities? He could do the same to us in the future, perhaps. Hop on the hot new thing. I understand what you're saying. He's not on the radar of Barcelona or Real Madrid. I don't think he will be in 2-3 years down the line. Not often unless he's a Lewandowski, style player. Those teams don't normally go for 30-plus-year-old players that are strikers, at least. I'm not concerned that he would explore other opportunities other than the opportunity that he got with us, because I honestly think that you don't walk away personally. It's not my own perspective, at least. I don't think you walk away from a club that has a real viable chance at bringing what he is seeking, which is, or reportedly is, trophies and glory like that. Those accolades. He can score all the goals he wants and he can be the Golden Boot scorer winner or something like that. But that doesn't, other than a personal accolade, that's something that, I think he's not necessarily interested in. More so, he's interested in winning a Premier League or going on to win a Champions League. I think that winning the League Cup was a major accomplishment for Newcastle. It was a feat that was meaningful for him and his Magpies, but I think he's just got bigger aspirations, and that the road towards those aspirations go through Liverpool most likely before pretty much any other club in England, to be honest with you. Would you differ, Lee?
No.
Okay. Do you would you change your answer to Gordon now that you heard mine, or do you still want to stick with Gordon?
No, I wouldn't even pay £15 million for Anthony Gordon. His price is a joke. His price is a joke. What they said for him when we were first linked with him last summer. I know some Reds like him, and I don't mind that. Everyone's got their own opinion, but I just don't rate him. Yeah.
I'll ask you this one since you're here now, and I'll ask the chat this one too. We're doing a little extra time right now, so if you got a question in the chat, you're more than welcome to ask it, and we'll do our best to answer it for you on the panel. But I'm going to ask you this one. There is a rumor. Originally, yesterday, I said 115 million euros is the asking price for was the not the asking price, but was the opening offer from Real Madrid for Rodri. Manchester City's Rodri. And now it's being put out there that they're willing to offer Camavinga plus Rodrigo and 40 million euros for Rodri. Do you make that deal, Lee?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay. Yeah, give us all a little bit more deeper insight than why not? I'm sure the Real Madrid, let's say you're in the Manchester City executive boardroom, they ring you up and they say, we want to give you Camavinga, Rodrigo, and 40 million euros for Roger. You're like, why not? What would be more of the elaborated reason?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay.
Well, why? But why are you making? Why? Yeah, don't be shy, as Red for Life is saying. Why is that deal intrigue you?
It's the first I've heard of it. I've heard that there was anything on the table like that, but it is interesting because they were linked with him, weren't they, a couple of days ago? But to be honest, I think I prefer him to stay because he might not be the player he was, and I don't want them to get like new reinforcements in like that.
Yeah, I mean, it gets them a winger. It gets City a winger, a bona fide winger in Rodrigo, someone that has flair and everything else, that South American flair that we all know. Pep I'm sure wouldn't mind indulging in, and then it also brings back I think one of the best young centered defensive midfielders in the world in Camavinga. He's not the level of Rodri, but I think that he is one of the best in the world, all the same. And it's because he's so young too. He's like 22 years old or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't really see Xavi wanting to let go of Camavinga, to be honest. Like,
I'd be surprised. Be very surprised.
Mm.
But I mean,
yeah, I mean,
he had the opportunity to put Rodri in there.
Yeah, Rodri, I mean, he's enjoyed going back to Spain, I'm sure. He's still the Ballon d'Or holder, isn't he? It was like a bad last season for him. Maybe he wants to forget it by moving home. But I think I'd just prefer them to keep him, and see what happens with City. I don't want them to be reinforced in that way, like by a load of good new players and money and that, like, you know what I mean? I'd rather just stay as they were. I think we've got the measure of them at the moment, like, so keep it as is. Would be my hope with City, yeah.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, I'll ask you this follow-up question then. I don't see any questions in the chat, really. So who is under the most pressure to perform this upcoming season for Liverpool? I had 5 players that I think are make or break season, especially if they stay. If they don't get moved on from and are part of the club going forward into this campaign. Maybe the right deal doesn't come across the table. We end up keeping the players, or maybe the players are just change of heart. They want to stay. What would you do? Who do you think has the most to play for?
Out of who? Sorry.
Out of any, you can pick anyone. I have 5 players that I chose. If you want me to go through the 5 players, I can go through the 5 players. But I have 5 players.
For us with stuff to prove, suppose Dom's got a bit to prove, hasn't he, now, with Verts coming in. McAllister's got to keep his standards up, which I'm sure he will, and so will Gravenberch. Yeah, the new players coming in, I suppose, isn't it? The new players that have got something to prove. Maybe Szoboszlai as well, like. Ibu as well, he's got something to prove. Like, if his contract's still undecided, he's got to prove to us that he's worthy of that spot by Virgil's side, instead of hopefully Mark Gahey. So yeah, there's quite a few players actually with something to prove. I suppose he's got to try and get as much game time as he can if he stays, hasn't he? So Robbo's another one who's been here a while, but he's got something to prove this season, hasn't he? And that augurs well, that we can look at a player like Robbo and say he's got something to prove. I mean, he doesn't know we're saying, he's done everything for us, but we want to be involved as much as possible, won't he, still, this season?
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Yeah, the 5 players I had on my list were basically Robbo, Elliott, Dom, Ben Doak, and Darwin as being the top 5 players. If they do stay with the team, they have the biggest to show out of all the players. They have the biggest to play for.
A different Saudi club's been linked with Darwin today, haven't they? Al Ali are potentially eyeing him up. So we see what happens there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is funny though. Everybody's so wanting to be the person that say I told you so, and the likes of these players moving on. Let's just wait until they are officially moved on from, to kind of like move on from.
I think West Ham would suit Harvey, to bring it back to that. Yeah, I think that'd be a great move for Harvey. I think he could do well for a club like West Ham. Graham Potter would have an idea for him, and then he can play. He can play then.
Yeah. 75 million is what is apparently the minimum that we're looking for. 75 million pounds is the minimum that we're looking for Darwin. That's what is being put out there as being it, just so you know. So, but we are at the last hurrah for this show. Excuse me. Yeah, that's pounds. 75 million pounds is what was the last article I saw had 75 million pounds as being what we would like to get for Darwin. Say what you will about his talents. I get that we sometimes we do a disservice by allowing our own brethren to belittle his value amongst ourselves. But in this market, it is an elevated market. He might be, you could easily say he's more of a 60 million pound striker. But in this market, he's a 75 million pound striker. It's just that simple. I mean, if you told me today Ekitike is worth 79 million pounds or close to 80 million pounds, I'd be like, you're kidding yourself. He's a 50 million pound striker. But the market is demanding that. So like, Gyökeres as highly of a rated player as he is? No. It's about finding a club or a team that will meet your evaluation and keeping it moving. And I think that team might be the Saudis. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze real quick. But yeah, the Saudis, I think the reason why we could put a price tag on there, and maybe we don't get those kind of prices from Europe, but that's where he preferred it. His preference is to move to Europe. That's what's being said. But at the same time, the Saudis can help push that number a little bit as well. So we'll see. But yes, that's about all we're going to do. We're going to bring it to a close here, my people. Because I've gotten through all of what I wanted to say. The story of this season hasn't been written yet, as I spoke on earlier, but this is the prologue. It's happening right now in Asia. Tomorrow is going to be a very, very big game. I don't think we'll do it's at 4:30 in the morning, so that would mean I'd have to be up at 3:30 in the morning to do a roll call. So it most likely won't happen. I'm not saying it won't definitely not happen, but it most likely won't happen, depending on maybe if Lee's available or Brian and those guys are available to do one, or if I'm still up. These squad battles are serious. They are creating make or break scenarios for a lot of people, a lot of players. Let's see who rises. Let's see who takes on the challenge. Let's see who shines above all else. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that. So again, I mentioned at the beginning of the show. I'll mention again right now. Help us keep the show striving and climbing. One click of the like is all it takes. One click is all it takes. Maybe I could coin that too. That's a good one, right? I just thought of that. That's off the dome. One click is all it takes. Opportunities. Okay. But yes, please do one click that like button. Get us closer to our goal of 50 likes a show. Again, we are all the 12th man, so we appreciate your support and we appreciate you helping us get there. So helping us be a part of it, to be honest with you. So with that said, Brian's here now too. We're just about to end the show, but Brian, would you like to say something before we bounce?
Sorry. Okay, sorry. All right.
No worries.
Sorry.
You want to say something to people before we bounce?
No, you're going. Okay, no, okay. Well,
I'll ask you real quick. I'll ask you a quick question because it's a funny one. I thought this was like a great scenario. If you were from a City perspective, because this is the offer that's being made by Real Madrid, Camavinga plus Rodrigo and 40 million euros for Rodri.
Is that real? Are they actually doing that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, if that's an actual real thing,
It got you stunned. I know. I think Camavinga is an absolute star in the making.
I mean, I would say, I mean, if I was a Madrid fan, if I was saying you're giving them Camavinga and Rodrigo, I would want Rodri plus 60 million, maybe. I wouldn't be giving them two players plus money euros for Rodrigo. I mean, Camavinga plus 10 million. Wow. They're not giving him Camavinga and Rodrigo, surely. For Rodri?
Plus 40 million euros.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Plus 40 million euros, yeah. Which is what, like 25 million.
He's the main man for Spain as well in that position. You know, I'm sure Xabi does enjoy watching him and that, like, and would like to have him in his team. But Camavinga and Rodrigo plus money is probably too much. I mean, you could look at it like I was saying before. I prefer that the status quo to remain the same if possible. But the other way around, like if they did come here, like the pair of them could flop, Camavinga could flop in the Premier League, like, and they'd be even more rudderless than they were last season at times.
That would be an amazing deal for Man City, I think. An amazing deal.
I agree with that too. I think that's a no-brainer. I know I mean, for a player coming back from, apparently too, he's been on and off injured during the preseason too, trying to work way back from being to getting his fitness back up to the levels. You know, if that's the case, yeah, you gotta pull the cord and bring in potentially like absolute beast of a DM. I know Camavinga is not the level of Rodri. I'm not saying that at all. He's not. You're not going to get the next Ballon d'Or winner out of Camavinga, but you're getting a very young and incredibly talented player.
It's a lot to part with for the player who's just had that serious injury, isn't it? From Madrid's point of view, them two players plus money, that's a lot. That when you add it all up, right? Because I mean, what would cost? What would Camavinga cost on the market? Rodrigo, we know, is about 100 million, some shit like. Camavinga, he'd have a high price as well. Like, I'm not going to sell him on the cheap, are they? So them two together with like 40 million, that's a lot of money for a man who's just getting over an ACL, isn't it? No matter how good he is.
I got another one for you then, Brian. We got like I'll end it on the two-hour mark on the dot. Another one for you is this: Manchester United have told that Nicholas Jackson is yours if you are willing to part with 100 million euros or 100 million pounds, excuse me. What's your feelings about that?
Mine are no, saving for Newcastle.
Sorry, should Manchester United spend 100 million pounds on Nicholas Jackson? Is that the question?
That's what the Chelsea is about. Chelsea's valuation of Nicholas Jackson is 100 million pounds. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And Manchester and Nicholas Jackson has come out saying that he only wants Manchester United, and Manchester United are reportedly interested in him.
Incredible. You know what I will say about
playing Europe,
what I will say about Fabrizio Romano said from day one that Ekitike, Liverpool, and all that stuff, and he was saying one of the reasons it's being slowed up is because there's a director at Frankfurt who is convinced that Manchester City or Manchester United will come in with a big bid higher than Liverpool's for Ekitike. Romano was saying that for 2 weeks. Every time he talked about Ekitike for Liverpool, he said, and I need to also state that there's a director at Frankfurt who believes that they need to wait because Manchester United, he thinks, will come in with a big higher bid for Ekitike. And that's exactly what happened. The day before we signed him, Manchester United tried to hijack the deal. Tried to hijack that deal. Like last minute, Manchester United apparently came in with like 89 million or something. Tried to hijack it. So the guy that he was getting his information spot on. They knew Manchester United were trying to come in and hijack that deal last minute. But it's just like it wasn't even a consideration. Ekitike just said, and apparently he's a huge Man United fan. You know, can't hold it against him, you know. But apparently Ekitike is a big Man United fan. And he's like, even then he's like, no, Liverpool is the place to be. That's the only place to be. But yeah, with the other one that you're saying, the question, which was
£100 million for Nicholas Jackson.
For Jackson, I mean, do United even do that? That's desperation. I don't know. That's bad. That is, yeah. Is Jackson better than Højlund for 100 million? I think I'd probably rather just buy a better number 10 and stick with Højlund and spend 100 million on Jackson.
It's a good question.
Jackson. If you say if you said, look, they can get Isak for 100 million, like, okay, cool, yeah, do it. Jackson for 100 million. No.
It's the reason why I said, you know, someone asked me, 75 million is apparently the asking price for Nunez. Someone asked me in the chat, I think it was Baz, asked me what the price was, the minimum. 75 million is what we're looking for, and it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you look for 75 million when there's clubs like, what was Southampton trying to get for Dibbling, right? 100 million. You know, Nicholas Jackson, they're trying to get 100 million for him. Like if these strikers are going for these, or at least being marketed out there for these ridiculous prices, I will openly admit that is highly overrating or overpricing these players. But at the same time, if you can get it.
Do you think United can afford that for Jackson, that type of fee, 80 million? Oh.
I think they can afford it. They're not as broke as everyone thinks they are, but they can afford it. But I also know that I heard also apparently what's the young winger for Barcelona, plays on the right? Oh, I'm going blank on his name.
Yamal.
Yamal, yes, Yamal. Apparently, Yamal is not happy with Barcelona because he wanted to be partnered with he wanted to have his wing partner be Nico, not Rashford. So, like, yeah, I don't know if I don't know what is the capability of Manchester United exactly. I have our capabilities. I've done a piece that I'm going to bring out about what we can spend and what we can move, while we can make these moves. But as far as Manchester United, who knows what they can spend? Who knows? Maybe they have a secret hotel that they're going to siphon off to make things right. Who knows? Who knows? But all right, guys, we're at the 2-hour mark. Instead of bringing it to that, we went 30 minutes over the mark anyway. Hope that you enjoyed the show. Again, we're looking at a 50 like minimum for all these shows. So thank you for Brian for popping in. He's popped out, but all the same. thank you for popping in and participating in the panel real quick. And also big up to you, Lee, for hopping over and giving us some of the Scouts in the House, insight.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Thanks, Sean.
Yes. Bob Mark saying, did I hear your mom is not happy? Richard Hughes, you know what to do. Yes. That would be a phenomenal signature. But that's going to be, that signature would be most likely more like the Neymar to PSG type expenditure.
He does seem to be a man of many talents, Richard Hughes, but that might be beyond his skills.
That might be one step beyond. All right, people. So we will see you mañana. I'll probably try to do a show after the game, or sometime after the game, because the game will end around 6:30 in the morning for me. So it all depends. But hopefully we can maybe get a roll call together. I'm going to see what the boys, the lads think. And other than that, hey, you'll never walk alone should always be in your heart and mind. Hopefully you won't let that like button walk alone, and you'll hit it. And by far and most importantly, certainly up the Reds each and every time. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.